Survivor Cook Islands premiered on September 14, 2006, as 20 new castaways began the journey of a lifetime. The 20 players were divided into teams of 4, and the teams were, well, they were determined by race. Seriously, I know it's been 16 years, but what in the world were the producers thinking with this twist? After the players gathered as much supplies as they could for their shelter, the 4 tribes settled at their respective camps. On Puka Puka, Cowboy made fun of his own culture, irritating his tribe mates, while on Manihiki, the woman complained about Seiku's laziness around camp. At the Mutiny challenge, Manihiki came in last, sending them to the first tribal council of the Cook Islands. They did, however, send Jonathan to Exile Island, as it made its return after being the theme of the previous season. With the guys being close, and Rebecca and Sandra not even hiding their friendship, this left Stephanie as the swing vote. At Tribal Council, Seiku's laziness combined with Stephanie connecting to the females more than the males cost him the game, as he became the first boot of the Cook Islands, going home over Sandra in a 3-2 vote.
Seiku, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Jonathan wasn't able to find anything on Exile, but just like Misty the previous season, the thought of him having the super idol made him an obvious target not only within his tribe, but the entire game. On I2, Billy's laziness rubbed Ozzy the wrong way, as he was obviously all about hard work, and being so sick of Billy, he suggested to throw the next immunity challenge to get rid of Billy. And at the immunity challenge, I2 followed through with Ozzy's plan, throwing immunity to send them to the second tribal council of the season. However, before the teams returned to camp, there was a couple of big moments that occurred. I2 decided to send Yule to exile, which would obviously end up being $1 million decision, but most importantly, Billy found more than $1 million on the island, as he found his true love on Survivor.
I feel really bad for you guys. We love you.
I love you.
On Exile, Yule used his genius brain to follow the clues to the idol, which once again was the OP Super Idol. Billy desperately tried to campaign for Ozzy, but it was no use, as he knew his time was done heading into Tribal. However, right before leaving, he became a Survivor legend forever.
My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace. And in between...
Candace from Roro tribe.
Yeah, we sort of mouthed the words I love you to one another, and so that was my prize, and my prize was her.
Billy, the tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go.
Episode 3 begins with a tribe swap as the teams went from 4 to 2. On the new I2 tribe, Cecilia told Candace about what Billy said, leading her to clear everything up, and that this was all a big misunderstanding. Yule also showed Becky his super idol, as she was his closest ally, but unfortunately for the two, they were in the minority along with Jonathan, with Becky being the target. After Rero won the first challenge as new teams, Jonathan and Yule went to work to save their alliance member and vote out Cecilia instead. The odd pair of Jessica and Cowboy quickly found themselves as swing votes between the two sides, and at Tribal, Yule's work to save his ally paid off as Jess and Cowboy sided with the two and Penner to blindside Cecilia in a 5-3 vote.
Cecilia, tribe has spoken.
Despite Rero on paper being the much stronger tribe, their ego was put into check at the reward challenge as I2 won their first challenge as a tribe and sent Adam to exile. On Rero, realizing how many big and strong guys were on her tribe, we got the first taste of the legend that is Parvati Shallow, and a technique that many other Survivor females would try to implement, flirting with the guys to get them on her side. And after Rero lost the immunity challenge, she made her first of many great Survivor moves. After flirting with JP, he felt completely secure with Parvati. However, Parvati, feeling JP was a huge threat, attempted to get the numbers to take him out now while his guard was down. At Tribal, the two main men who had puppy eyes for Parvati in Nate and JP were blindsided, as they voted for Stephanie as the easy vote. But Parvati got the rest of the tribe on board to follow through with her JP blindside proposal, sending him home in a 7-2 vote.
JP, tribe has spoken.
That was pretty good.
Episode 5 begins with the classic holding weight challenge, and the strong pair Nate and Adam would win it for Rero, earning them fishing gear and wine, and Rero sent Jonathan to exile for the second time. On I2, Cowboy, as predicted, couldn't contain himself, as he complained about the laziness of the women in his tribe. Having enough of Cowboy, Yule and Becky no longer wanted to work with him, and offered the outsider Sandra a place in their alliance. On Rero, the bossiness of Christina started to get on the nerves of everyone at camp, and after Rero lost the immunity challenge, she looked to be all but done for. However, in one of the most bizarre reasons a Survivor player was ever eliminated, Nate flipped the majority vote onto Stephanie because she wanted some mashed potatoes?
I used to see myself going home getting some mashed potatoes and gravy.
What'd he say?
I said, I can easily see myself get some mashed potatoes and gravy.
Stephanie kind of said how she really just wanted to get some mashed potatoes, you know, just kind of like that hint of like, you know, I'm kind of done with the game.
5th person voted out of the Cook Islands. Stephanie, that's 5. That's enough. Unless you have the hidden idol, you need to bring me your torch.
Stephanie, the tribe has spoken.
It's the final 15 now, but we're going from 15 to 13 players after this episode, as episode 6 is a double tribal. I2 would win the team challenge, which meant they would go to tribal first, and would get to watch it on Raro's tribal, while feasting on lamb and drinking cider. On I2, with Jonathan being the obvious first thought when it came to who had the idol, Cowboy forever broke Survivor, all due to a dream he had.
Well, you need 3 of that and 3 of that. And I thought 3 and 3. That's how you can defeat the immunity idol. Plan voodoo.
I realized we got 6 votes. And what if he has the item? We put 3 votes on each of them.
Unfortunately for Cowboy, he told this to Yule, which sketched him out, as he was truly the one with the idol. So, with Cowboy not only being annoying for the past couple days, but was somehow turning out to be a strategic threat on top of that, Yule felt he had no choice but to take him out, and at Tribal, everyone other than Jessica voted for Cowboy, putting an end to one of the greatest pre-merge characters in Survivor history.
Cowboy, the tribe has spoken.
All the way, sir.
Time for you to go.
All the way.
At Raro's tribal, I2 decided to kidnap Nate, as that was another part of their reward, as he could no longer vote, and would in fact spend the night at Raro's camp. After being miraculously saved due to mashed potatoes at the last tribal, Christina had nowhere to hide this time, and was voted out in a 4-2 vote.
Christina, the tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go.
Episode 7 is a recap episode, leading us into episode 8, where Jessica was devastated that she lost her closest ally in Cowboy, and knew she was now in deep trouble. At the reward challenge, I2 won, and exiled Adam once again. A big thing of note here is that Brad opted to do the puzzle instead of taking part in the swimming portion of the challenge, despite being a strong swimmer. Raro rebounded at the immunity challenge, sending I2 to tribal, where the outsider Jessica was voted out unanimously.
Jessica, the tribe has spoken.
It's episode 9 now, a turning point in Survivor history. Before the reward challenge, Jeff offered a chance for the players to mutiny to the other tribe, and all I can say is, I can't imagine how sick the producers must have felt when they saw their plan to get a BIPOC winner take a disastrous turn for the worst.
3, 2, Candace is mutiny. 1. Jonathan mutinies at the last second. That is it. You are I2 no more. Join Rarotonga.
Yep, Jonathan and Candace turned on I2 to reunite with their Raro tribe mates, and at that point, it seemed all but a lock we would get a white winner, which obviously would have been a disaster for Survivor given the circumstances. Despite being completely blindsided by the flip and now in the serious minority, I2 didn't let that stop them, as they won reward, earning themselves a day at a coffee shop, where the 4 bonded as a tribe, even more so now given what happened, and promised to stay loyal to one another. With Candace being sent to exile, Penner used this time to reunite with his Raro tribe mates, but he got bad vibes after they weren't really buying what he was selling. At the immunity challenge, with the help of some genius tricks from Yule, I2 won a must-have immunity. Jonathan appeared to be the easy vote, but after Brad continued to complain about his tribe mates, and even admitted at Tribal, he didn't trust any of them fully, Raro had no choice but to unanimously vote him out, and surprisingly, he became the first member of the jury.
Brad, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 10 now, one of the most notorious episodes of Survivor. The episode started off normal, as I2 continued the momentum by winning the reward challenge, earning themselves a feast. But at the immunity challenge, Jeff introduced one of the most infamous twists in Survivor history.
The losing tribe will take back to camp with them this bottle. Inside it is a note. It must remain sealed. You will bring it with you to tribal council. You will open the bottle after you have voted.
I2 came up clutch once again, sending Raro to tribal. The tribe was convinced that the bottle would say they were merging, and with that in mind, they voted out the weak link Rebecca, in hopes that would take their strongest 6 to the merge. But then, to the absolute shock of Raro,
you've just voted out one member of your tribe. You will now vote out another. That's not fun.
In a bit of a questionable move, the majority of Raro decided to vote out Jenny over Jonathan, feeling like she was more likely to flip, given her former trimates of Becky and Yule were on the other side, and poor Jenny got absolutely twist screwed, as she was sent to the jury in a 4-2 vote.
Jenny, tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go.
The tribes finally merged to begin episode 11, much to the relief of Rero, who still had the numbers. However, I2 were confident in themselves that they would get someone to flip, and unanimously agreed that Penner would be most likely to switch alliances. So with that in mind, Yul made his pitch to Penner, revealing his ultimate secret weapon in the process.
So, the hypothetical is a reality. This is the idol. And I'm asking you for both of our sakes to become my ally again.
Ozzy won the poll challenge, sending the final 9 to this ever so important tribal, where Penner was the swing vote. Alright, will Penner stick with the Reros, possibly ending Survivor in the process, or will he flip back to the I2s, giving the underdogs the advantage, which would ultimately recapture Jeff Probst's love for the show? The stakes could not be higher for the players, and for that matter, the producers, as this is a series-defining decision.
12th person voted out and the 4th member of our jury. Nate.
Nate, tribe has spoken. Time for you to go. One love.
Unbelievably, after their games looked finished, I2 rose back from the dead, and in a span of 3 episodes, went from the 8-4 minority to a pretty much guaranteed lock to make it to the final 4. In fact, at the auction, Yul admitted to everyone he had the idol after Candace attempted to intimidate them, saying she would find the idol on Exile. This caused Candace to break down when she got to Exile, as she knew she was in deep trouble, and was also upset to be away from Adam, as the two had developed quite the romance in the Cook Islands. At the immunity challenge, I2's target and Adam won immunity, leaving his showman's partner vulnerable. Candace became even more of an outcast after berating Jonathan for flipping, which is absolutely the definition of hypocritical. At Tribal, I2 and Penner stayed strong, sending Candace to the jury in a 5-3 vote. However, she let her feelings for Adam be known on the way out.
Well, a kiss is nice. Maybe if it were love, he'd have given you the immunity necklace. Candace, tribe has spoken.
Still smiling, guys. Have fun. Love ya.
Time for you to go.
The contestants' loved ones arrived at the Final 7 reward challenge, with Parvati being the one to come out on top. Parvati's dad chose Sandra and her mom, along with Adam and his dad, to spend the day with them at a picnic. But more importantly, Parvati sent Jonathan to exile, giving her and Adam a chance to throw Penner under the bus, as there was nothing now he could do about it. And during their campaign for Penner, Adam actually came up with a genius idea, saying his jury vote for Yul would 100% be decided on if he spared him over Penner. After Ozzy won his second immunity, Yul, thinking long term, convinced his alliance to take out Penner for what would turn out to be a pivotal jury vote, as the tribe unanimously voted out the legendary Jonathan Penner.
Jonathan, tribe has spoken.
And I'd like my hat back at some point. Nikas.
Parvati and Adam were ecstatic that they survived longer than Penner, and with their newfound optimism, they desperately tried to find a crack within I2, as they now just needed one person to flip. They agreed their best option was Ozzy, as they campaigned to him that he was on the outside of the 4, and this was proven to be true, as Becky and Sandra argued that Ozzy was too big of a physical threat and needed to take him out as soon as they had the chance. However, any plans to blindside Ozzy went to the wayside, as he won his third immunity. Parv and Adam continued their best to persuade Ozzy to flip to their side, but the I2-4 were simply too strong, and at Tribal, Parvati was voted out in a 4-2 vote. And while she did have a decent run in the Cook Islands, I don't think anyone could have ever imagined she would become an absolute legend of Survivor after this less than memorable first outing.
Parvati, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
It's the finale now, and all that was in I2's way from completing the clean sweep of the 8 Reros was Adam. And at the immunity challenge, Ozzy once again won immunity, his 4th of the season, guaranteeing himself a spot in the final 4. The show doesn't hide Adam going here, as Adam himself even accepts his fate, and the only real question is if I2 would try to get the idol out of Yul. But in the end, the I2-4 completed their epic comeback, sending Adam to the jury in a unanimous vote.
Adam, the tribe has spoken.
The I2-4 celebrated their insane accomplishment, but things went from happy to serious real quickly at the immunity challenge, as Jeff dropped a bombshell on the final 4.
Is that for the first time ever? Final tribal council will include not 2 people, but 3.
All of a sudden, the stakes were raised immensely for this final Mutiny challenge, as the final 4 had to stand on a small steel perch in the ocean for as long as possible. Ozzy knew he was a goner if he lost, but arguably the greatest challenge beast in Survivor history earned his safety once again, winning his 5th immunity of the season, tying him with Tom, Colby, and Terry for the most all time. With Ozzy and Yul safe, they agreed that out of respect, they should let Sundra and Becky duke it out for a spot in the final 3, splitting the votes on the two, meaning they would go to fire. And well, this was certainly a memorable fire making challenge, but not exactly for the best of reasons. After a 90-minute battle, Becky mercifully beat Sundra, securing herself a spot at the final tribal council, making Sundra the final member of the jury.
Sundra, the tribe has spoken.
At the final tribal council, while the jury admitted they liked Becky, she simply didn't stand a chance sitting next to Yul and Ozzy. And months later, as expected, the vote was a close one. In fact, it came down to one vote. In the words of Jeff Probst, will it be Ozzy, arguably the greatest physical competitor Survivor had seen up until that point, or Yul, possibly the smartest player to ever play Survivor?
The winner of Survivor Cook Islands.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below of what you think of the Cook Islands, as it's quite the ambiguous season. Check out my previous installments of Survivor in blank minutes as well, and until next time, take care everyone, and I'll see you next week for Survivor Fiji.